everything right now. The only thing I can't do is run. And when I run, I'm in pain. So until that pain goes away, he will be out of Dallas's lineup. Now, Des did tell me I will be walking up and down the sidelines, cheering my team on. Walking, guys, not running. Joe?
Well, Des last year missed 7 games because of the break in his foot, had a bad hamstring, and while the Cowboys went 1-11 without Romo last year, they went 0-5 without Romo and Des Bryant. Here are the key inactives for Dallas while they play here on the road. Obviously, Tony Romo, Tyron Smith, 3-time Pro Bowler, Lyle Collins, second-year pro, out with a bad toe, and Orlando Scandrick, their top slot corner, is out. It's frightening. Lucky Whitehead is waiting for the kick, and off we go. Glad you're with us today on Fox. Whitehead from inside the 5. Suffers a big hit, keeps on motoring out to the 30. It's been 99 passes in the NFL without an interception for Dak Prescott. The poise that he has shown, the 4th-round pick, has been what stood out to me.
Well, that, and you look at the completion percentage, he's been, very poised within the pocket. You talk about the lack of throwing an interception. Really for an offense, has a rookie quarterback, a rookie tailback, and yet just 2 turnovers through 3 games.
Prescott takes off, got a big block, and slides, gets a hit. No flag, late slide, so no flag as Rashard Robinson, the rookie corner, leveled him, but a gain of 9.
Well, we saw it last week when things open up. Dak Prescott, he's going to take it. He tries to get the ball out to Jason Witten. Good coverage. Not a guy who really scrambles and runs all that often. Just his 8th rushing attempt on the season, but certainly more than capable.
Here's Ezekiel Elliott with a first down carry out to the 48. Antoine Bethea on the tackle and a carry of Ezekiel. An offense that has been dominant in the first half. They've not allowed a point defensively in the first quarter, and they've gotten off to fast starts.
Well, and that's obviously helped the young quarterback as well, because they've come out early in these games and they've been able to score points. He's been able to play from a lead, hasn't been put in a position to where he's had to come from behind late in games, and they're on the move here.
Elliott left side now. Got a block from Travis Frederick, picked up a couple. Mike Purcell on the tackle. Now the defense for San Francisco. They've played much better here at home for whatever reason, and they've taken the ball away. Tied for 3rd most in the NFL with 8. 2nd and 8. Blitz. Cowboys pick it up. Prescott underneath. Bryce Butler with a catch. And it's 19 Butler who's going to take the place of Des Bryant. Big shoes to fill, a gain of 4.
He's playing that X position where Des Bryant typically lines up. They got him last year. They're expecting some real improvement. He's getting his opportunities with Des on the sidelines.
Prescott did a lot of this in college at Mississippi State. Right back to the line. 3rd and 4.
Well, best in the league on 3rd down.
Prescott. Beasley with a first down. And the #1 receiver in the NFL, Cole Beasley, on 3rd down is good for 9.
Well, they bring pressure off the edge, off the slot. The guy lined up over Cole Beasley. You got an off linebacker then, and the NFL has yet to find a way to cover this guy. Whether it's man coverage, zone coverage, it doesn't much matter. And as Dak Prescott said, the leading receiver coming into this game, Dak has said the guy's just simply open all the time, and he's a matchup nightmare for any defensive back.
Lucky Whitehead gets it on a handoff in a little room to the 30. Knocked down by Will Hoyt. And let's say this for young Dak Prescott in this offense: they are #1 in the NFL in drives of 10 or more plays, in drives of 5+ minutes. And Jason Garrett, his group off to a good start here in Santa Clara.
The guy's got great command of the offense. You just watch him and how he directs his troops, and he likes this empty set formation that they're showing on this snap.
Play number 7. Pass tipped, nearly picked by Reed. Tipped at the line, and it was behind the intended target, Whitten. 3rd and 2.
Well, you've been waiting for that moment because Prescott, coming into the game, as you said, no interceptions, but he really hasn't even had anything that's been close to being intercepted. This was a golden opportunity for the 49ers, and Eric Reed normally makes that play.
Boy, I thought that was tipped. That's how poorly that ball came out of the hand of Prescott. It wasn't. Just a bad throw. 3rd and 2. That's a false start. 3rd and 7. Keith Smith, who is in the lineup at fullback.
Offense number 41. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Now 3rd and 7. And it's Smith, 41, who started upfield too soon, and out he comes.
Well, they make it a little bit more difficult now at 3rd and 7, but to go back to Dallas doing so well, as you see Smith here at fullback, started a little too soon. Prescott, 4th in the National Football League quarterback rating on 3rd down. That's really saying something for a guy who's just making his 4th NFL start.
Look what they've done on 3rd and what's considered long, 7 or more. Screen for Dunbar. Cuts upfield, and a nice play is made by Bethea. And Antoine Bethea saved a 1st down. The field goal unit comes on for the Cowboys.
Well, Antoine Bethea does an excellent job, but this was really on Prescott. If he's able to get the ball to Dunbar on his sideline shoulder and allow him to just continue to run and not have to slow up and try to make that play, he probably picks up this 1st down. But Bethea has great range and makes a play.
Jason Garrett has rolled the dice a bit on 4th down, did last week, but he's not going to do it here on 4th and 2. 47-yard try by Bailey. No good. And a promising drive ends in a 47-yard miss by Bailey. Just his 2nd miss of the year.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency.
During the offseason, the biggest offensive free agent the 49ers added was head coach Chip Kelly. And he is the one guiding Blaine Gabbert, who has that record of 9-29. In his first full season as starter for the 49ers, took over last year. Bobbled snap, and off to Hyde. And he turned that into a nice gain of 4 after a little mishandle on the snap from center Dan Kilgore. Here's where they rank offensively, and a lot around the line of scrimmage, Troy, not a lot downfield.
They've just not been able to create the big plays down the field, and as we said coming in, the biggest reason for that is they've just simply not been good on 3rd down.
2nd and 6, Gabbert fires, pass caught. And then wrestling for the football, but it's going to be a completion to Aaron Burbridge. A rookie has his first NFL catch. Now the defense for the Dallas Cowboys. Only team not to allow a drive of 5 or more minutes.
We talk about them on 3rd down and how poor they've been. 0 for 10 to start the game last week against the Seattle Seahawks. And they have a lot of 3rd and short distances like we're seeing here. And this is an important 3rd down to get off to a good start in this game.
It's Gabbert on the keeper outrun Sean Lee for the 1st down. Troy, the tools are there. The physical gifts are there for Blaine Gabbert. He's had a lot of offensive coordinators. He can run, he's big, he can throw it, but it has yet to come together at this NFL level.
Yeah, I mean, people who don't know a lot about Blaine Gabbert, last year he averaged more yards per carry than Kaepernick did.
Keeps it again, and Lee brings him down. Chip Kelly talks about the importance of the first down. They have it. And after 3 years in Philadelphia, here he is, first year of a 4-year deal with the Niners.
Dallas doing a good job defensively in how they're going to handle that read option. Sean Lee is scraping off the tackle to take care of the quarterback. Gabbert beat him for the first down on 3rd and short, not that time.
Gabbert slings it, pass nearly picked. And that's Anthony Brown, who's playing in place of the injured Orlando Scandrick. 3rd and 12. Patton the target.
Yeah, Anthony Brown, he's the 6th round pick out of Purdue. He's in a good position, gets his hands on the ball, and it's not an easy position to play. Hard for corners to come in and play well as young guys, especially when they're in that slot position. He got his opportunity last week in the win over the Bears, and he's getting action again today.
Rain falling, 3rd and 12. Gabbert, sideline, pass caught. Patton. First down.
Well, the Cowboys like to play a lot of man-to-man coverage, and Chip Kelly knows it. It's what Rod Marinelli prefers to do against Brandon Carr, and they've got to create separation. Patton is able to do it with a good route against Carr, but a lot of criticisms last week on Blaine Gabbert, but the receivers, in my opinion, they didn't help him out. There were not a lot of places to go with the football.
Gabbert keeps it again, and he's staring into the face of Sean Lee.
You got Gabbert, who is reading the outside guy, so he sees him collapse on the running back. He feels that he's got a running lane here, but you've got Sean Lee, who comes off the edge, who then is responsible for Gabbert. And I wouldn't say Sean Lee's as fast as Blaine Gabbert, but we saw on that 3rd down, he's plenty fast, so that's a pretty good matchup in space between those two guys. The last two, Sean Lee has won.
Quick throw, pass caught. That's the tight end. And after the hit by Barry Church, Garrett Selleck, a short gain of just 3. Selleck is now the top tight end. A big loss. Vance McDonald, who's become a target for Blaine Gabbert, is inactive with a bad hip. And Jimmy Ward, their top corner, is out defensively for Chip Kelly. 3rd and 7. Blitz. Niners pick it up. Wide open Curley. Church, goodbye, touchdown.
Rod Marinelli, defensive coordinator, rarely ever brings pressure, but he does this time, trying to get to Gabbert, and there's just a blown coverage. Curley, who runs a deep crossing route, middle safety, late to get over to cover. And there's a big play for the first time in a while for the San Francisco 49ers.
A 33-yarder to Jeremy Curley, a late addition to this roster, and he came into this game leading in receiving yards through 3 games. 7-0. 3 3rd down conversions on the drive for Blaine Gabbert and the 49ers, and that is what Chip Kelly and San Francisco have been waiting for.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Bud Light, beer with your team on it.
But the 49ers talk about the importance of the first down to get these extended drives going, to go fast-paced, to wear down a defense, to not let them substitute. That's what they wanted. 9-play drive. Gabbert starts 4 for 5, 54 yards, and the 33-yarder for the touchdown. Good start for the 49ers at home. Curley has got a touchdown, his first as a 49er. Questions for Rod Marinelli in the Dallas D.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Nationwide. Nationwide is on your side. By Burger King. Now get 10 chicken nuggets for just $1.49, only at BK. And by Samsung Pay. Turn your phone into your wallet.
We are south of the great city of San Francisco, California. Glad you're with us. And now Dak Prescott will have to play from behind as the Cowboys give up their first quarter points of the season. Play action. Underneath, it's the fullback Smith. A good start to this drive. I'll tell you who doesn't get enough credit. His offensive coordinator, Scott Linehan. He has done a terrific job calling plays for young Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think there were some criticisms towards Scott Linehan in week 1 when they lost to the Giants. Didn't feel like they opened it up enough. I mean, rookie quarterback making his first NFL start. I thought he called a heck of a game in that one, mixing it up, and it's only gotten better. And last week, a lot of empty sets that played right in his hands. Here's
Ezekiel Elliott, who's starting to show what he can do. You just listen to the ticket too much. That's the deal.
Yeah, well,
listen to all the complainers.
Oh, yeah.
Well, here's Zeke, and Troy, you can see he's starting to get a feel for the speed of the game. He only got 7 carries in the preseason.
Yeah, in the first couple of weeks when you watched him, he was a little too fast. And I've seen guys come into the league and, it has to time up. And when they rush with the kind of speed and quickness that he has, it doesn't always marry up with what the blockers are doing in front of him. He was much more patient last week. He was able to hit some of the backside cuts. Had a heck of a day running the ball.
140 against Chicago. Gets it here, cuts back. Well played. Will Hoyt and Bowman. Well, he starred at John Burroughs High School in Ladue, Missouri. Ezekiel Elliott, and he did this on the track team. Played football, coached by Gus Farrat. Here is the tweet he sent out saying, "Hurdling gene comes from Mama." What an incredible athlete and a storied career. John Burroughs to Ohio State to the Dallas Cowboys. 3rd and 4.
I bet Mama gets a lot more credit for other things besides hurdling, too. Most moms do.
Prescott in trouble. Down he goes. Bowman got it.
Well, delayed blitz by Navarro Bowman. Initially looks like he's going to drop maybe off into coverage, and they holds it, and then here he comes. It opens up, and he takes a shot. Spine on Dak Prescott.
It's the first sack of the year for Bowman. Meanwhile, no Tyron Smith, no Lyle Collins. The left side of the offensive line. Considered one of the best units in the NFL. The O-line for Dallas. 2 big pieces not there. Sack ends that drive. Jones hits a gorgeous punt. And it's going to check up inside the 10 and down inches outside of the end zone. You just can't do it any better as Dunbar taps it inside the 1. Since the merger in 1970, these are the top 2 winning organizations across the NFC. Here's the play. Mike Pereira joins us from LA. What'd you see, Mike?
Well, Dunbar was in the end zone, came back and reestablished, but his left foot hit the goal line when he was touching the ball. So that by rule makes it a touchback. So this ought to go back out to the 20-yard line with a 1st and 10 for Dallas at the 20.
It's a 49ers challenge that came late in the break, and it looks like it was worth it.
After review, the kicking East player was on the goal line when he touched the football. It is a touchback. The ball will be placed at the 20-yard line. San Francisco is not charged with a timeout.
What a big difference in Dunbar. I said going to break, you can't do it any better. Well, his foot was just on the white stripe, and turns out you can do it better.
Well, how many times do you see a great punt and the guy comes in and dives for the ball and to stop it, and he doesn't have to. All Dunbar has to do is come in there and just, you don't have to go to the ground to stop the ball. It was not rolling fast. It wasn't going to go into the end zone. And I thought in real time that his shoulder was maybe on the line from here, but it turned out to be his left foot. Big difference in field position.
Here is Hyde. and Hyde is spun down with no gain. Meanwhile, Chip Kelly is now 9 for 18 in his career in challenges, 1 and 2. Challenging from the 49ers sideline. And after that first possession, Chip Kelly, will see what he dials up here second time with him.
Well, what he dials up, he has his whole menu of plays. You know, unlike had he have been starting off on the 1-yard line, you see him with the call sheet in his hands. Everything's in play right here.
Little pitch on the option. Hyde broke a tackle. Good job by Carlos Hyde. A gain of 7 after going around Sean Lee. Here's Kurt with a game break.
And a quick one at that. Brian Quick, the wide receiver for the Los Angeles Rams, take this one from Case Keenum. 65 yards later, he's in the end zone. And the Rams, those first-place Rams, have the lead at Arizona 7-0. Joe Troyanelli.
All right, thanks, Kurt. Big play for Quick, former second-rounder. Now 3rd and 3. Gabbert keeps. First down, San Francisco. Good block by Sean Drone to spring him.
No, that's why this play worked, because they're trying to scrape. They're trying to scrape off the edge, but Drone comes over. He takes the guy responsible for the quarterback in Barry Church, and then Sean Lee not able to get there either. So we talked about how important it was going to be for the 49ers on 3rd down to sustain drives. 4 for 4 here in the first quarter on 3rd down.
Drone. Nothing. Cuts back. Well played by Dallas. Troy talked about it. 0 for their first 10 on 3rd down last week. Through 3 quarters in that 19-point loss to the Seahawks today. Perfect.
Yeah, and that's why they haven't had the big plays. You play fast, you tire out the defense, and in these long drives, then eventually the defense is going to make a mistake. We saw it on the touchdown throw, and those big plays will come naturally.
Gabbert. Patton out of his reach. Covered by the rookie Anthony Brown. If you're just joining us, Dallas went down and Bailey missed a 47-yarder. First time the Cowboys haven't scored on their opening drive this season. Then San Francisco put together a great drive that was capped on a 33-yard touchdown throw to Curley. Now it's 3rd and 9. Four-man rush. Pass is for a first down to Selleck. Good idea, the velocity for Blaine Gabbert with that throw.
Well, great protection in the pocket. Right guard Trent Brown, just a massive guy. He holds up on his end, and then Gabbert, he throws a strike to Garrett Selleck, who really ran an outstanding route, threatening the defense, and then give him a good target.
Pass caught, Selleck left alone. Room to run, down inside the 30 to the 27.
Right now, the 49ers, they just got the Cowboys really on their heels and some breakdowns on the back end. They're bringing pressure off the edge, trying to get to Blaine Gabbert, and they completely turned Garrett Selleck loose there for the game.
25-yarder to Selleck. Gabbert keeps looking for a block, doesn't get it. Drone could not lay his pads on anybody, and that was well played by 3 Dallas defenders. Barry Church, the main one, lost it 2.
You know, you look at this 49ers offense, and if you just looked at statistics, you would think that, wow, this team really runs the ball well, and we certainly know that Chip Kelly wants to run the football, but it's really because they run it so often. They have the 3rd most rushing attempts in the league through 3 weeks. The Cowboys actually are 2nd. They don't run it great, but they're not going to give up on running the football, and we've witnessed that here in the early going.
On 2nd down, over the middle, a fastball to Curley for a first down. And Gabbert is showing what he can do here in the first quarter, which will come to an end right now. He's got a 33-yard touchdown to Curley, now a 17-yarder to number 17. Let's go to the second on America's Game of the Week back after this from your local Fox station. Start the second quarter, and what has become Sunday viewing on networks covering the NFL. There's the Dallas Cowboys sideline with Rod Marinelli, who served his country in Vietnam, in the center of that line. And a mixed reaction on the 49ers sideline, including Colin Kaepernick, who started this movement kneeling during a beautiful rendition of the Star Spangled Banner. Before this one, first down, and Gabbert's going to keep it. Showing what he can do, and part of what he can do is disguise whether he's giving the ball away or not. He picks up 6. So far, Gabbert's been responsible for 5 third down conversions, 3 in the air, 2 on the ground. He's off to a good start.
He really is. He was the second leading rusher coming into this game. He's got a lot of opportunities here in this first half. Does a good job of getting on the ground.
And off. High. About a yard shy of first down. So third and short coming up. Opening seconds of quarter number 2.
You know, I didn't sense, Joe, when we were at their facility on Friday, really any panic. You know, they open up the year, they shut out the Rams, they're 1-0, they lose the next 2 games, tough road games. And I think they felt pretty confident coming in, and it has looked that way in the early going.
Hyde. Touchdown! How about 6 for 6 on third down in this game for San Francisco?
You see Trent Brown, all 6'8" of them, and how he's able to kind of help secure that edge to get Carlos Hyde into the end zone, and they just are able to finish off a heck of a drive, and Torrey Smith helping out as well. Initially, it looked like the Cowboys may have had Hyde bottled up, but with big Trent Brown out there at right tackle, able to secure the corner, it was all Hyde for the touchdown.
5th touchdown for Hyde in a 14-0 game. And a good start for the home team on America's Game of the Week. The 49ers hit him with a high.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. By Pizza Hut. Bring home the flavor. Only at Pizza Hut. And by Nissan. Innovation that excites.
Well, you look at Mr. Joe Montana. Am I right in saying that of all the guys that you watched in your lifetime, he's number 1 to you?
Well, I'm asked a lot who I think the greatest of all time was, and I claim I didn't see Otto Graham, and I didn't watch Johnny Unitas and a lot of those guys, but of my time, Joe Montana, that's an easy question for me to answer. He was the best.
Well, the Cowboys down 14-0. We'll start this drive at their 25. How about that combination? Great Bill Walsh, the great Joe Montana. The rich history of the Niners. Uncharted waters for Dak Prescott, the rookie quarterback. Largest deficit the Cowboys have faced. The 49ers don't look like they're going to be slowed down anytime soon on top of it. Alfred Morris in the backfield. He gets it covering the right side, and Morris is bottled up after a gain of 2.
A little different experience, as you mentioned, for Dak Prescott, the young quarterback. He's come into these games. They've had good starts early offensively. They've been able to put points on the board, and now defensively, looking at it, they have really struggled against the 49ers offensively, and to be down here 14 points in the early going, obviously no need to panic, and he's certainly not going to, but a little different mindset right now.
2nd and 8. Pass is caught. Depends on the spot. A yard short of a first down by Terrence Williams. And I'll tell you, the left tackle, Chaz Green, looked like he may have started out of his stance early. The penalty not called.
Yeah, I saw the same thing that you did. Chaz Green, of course, getting the start at left tackle again for Tyron Smith. Did a pretty good job last week against the Bears.
3rd down and 1. to the up back, and the fullback, Keith Smith's got a first down. Well, you have to check out Lethal Weapon. Damon Wayans and Clayne Crawford are perfect as Murtaugh and Riggs. Action, comedy, drama, it's got it all. And a lot of fun. Catch an all-new episode of Lethal Weapon Wednesday right here on Fox. Seeing a little more of Keith Smith than the Cowboys have featured the first 3 weeks.
Keith Smith, the converted linebacker, got some action.
Prescott keeps, sets up, flushed, incomplete, out of bounds as the catch is made by Williams.
Well, Prescott doesn't see Terrence Williams right away. He's running the deep crosser, and he's able to go through that zone defense and was open and off of the play action. He's got a nice lane right there to fit it in, and he just catches it late. Late throw there. It's always a little bit dangerous when you come out that late, but had a chance had he had seen Williams earlier in the progression.
We need to talk about this offensive line, and in particular Tyron Smith. 2nd and 10. Penalty flag on the play as Morris, a short gain on 2nd and 10. We'll get the call from Terry McCauley. It's against the 49ers.
Yeah, they're going to get the 49ers
Offside.
here.
Defense number 35. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
That's Eric Reed, who is up on the line. Let's go for a game break and check in with Kirk.
Well, the Super Bowl champion Denver Broncos trying to remain unbeaten on the road. They're in a close one down there in Tampa. However, C.J. Anderson gives them a little bit of breathing room in the 2nd quarter with a 1-yard score. Joe, Troy, and Eric.
Kurt, thanks. 2nd down and 5 now. Morris right side. 3rd and short coming up. When we talked to head coach Jason Garrett about Tyron Smith, a 3-time Pro Bowler, terrific left tackle, he's out, and Jason admitted to us not only is he having spasms in his back, but he mentioned he's got a bulging disc. It's not herniated, which is much more severe, but there is a bulge in a disc, and that's leading to the back spasms that aren't allowing him to get on the field.
Well, and anyone, I know you've had back problems. I had back problems in my career, and if you've had them, it is always a concern when someone of his caliber is missing time because of a back injury.
On 3rd and 3, incomplete for Bryce Butler. Had it for a moment, and it was knocked away by the rookie Robinson.
Yeah, Rashard Robinson, he's in his opportunity, and it's really good coverage. I don't think the ball got tipped, but it was right. Wasn't able to lead him in there because of the hands and the congestion for him trying to fit the ball. But another good stop defensively by this Niners defense.
Shank. But it stays inbounds and ends up taking a good Dallas bounce out of bounds inside the 10. They're going to mark it at the 6. That's where San Francisco has it up 14.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Genesis. Take a breath of fresh luxury.
I sure wish I was playing.
So does Jason Garrett, so does Dak Prescott, so do fantasy football owners across the country. But a guy with a crack in his knee, certainly busy over there on the sideline. Starting at the 6, it's high to the 10. The Dallas Cowboys takeaways have been hard to come by. Rod Marinelli, his group had 31 2 seasons ago. 2nd in the NFL, only 11 last year. They've got 4 to start this season. Gabbard out to his right, gonna carry it. Yard short of a first down. Church and Hitchens on the stop.
We saw earlier, as you see Blaine Gabbert trying to adjust his chin strap. He did a good job in the previous possession of getting on the ground and protecting himself, but he takes some pretty good shots at the end of this. Keeps taking hits like that. I don't know if they're going to continue to run this quarterback keeper.
Here's Hyde. He got enough. First down.
You know, speaking of Blaine Gabbert, this is his 6th offensive system in 6 years. Pretty remarkable. You know how you hold it all together. He says this is more like what he did in college, but nothing like what he's done, you know, the previous 5 years. And you know, here's a look at the different offensive coordinators that he's had. I think he feels at home in this system, but it's, you know, obviously an adjustment for all of the offensive players, particularly the wide receivers. Only 2 of them were here from a year ago.
49ers have run it 63% of the time, and down goes Gabbert. As the Cowboys get a big sack, and it belongs to Tyrone Crawford, who was taken over at left defensive end.
Tyrone Crawford is out on the outside, and they run a little game in there, and he's able to get to Gabbert. They shifted things up at the end of that Redskins win, and then last week, and they moved Crawford to the outside, and I think it's an opportunity to get the rookie Malik Collins on the field, but they needed a play, and Tyrone Crawford, he delivers.
Loss of 7. Here's Drone. Lee in on the stop. 3rd and long coming up as Drone gets 4.
Well, the 49ers have been perfect on 3rd down, and not all of them have been short distances that they've had to get. We'll see if the Cowboys are able to force a punt, something they've been unable to do.
Converted on 3rd and 12, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 7. It's 3rd and 13. 4-man rush. Underneath Drone. Long way to go. Won't get there. Claiborne on the stop. And the defense for Dallas finally forcing a punt.
Well, Chris Jones, the punter for the Cowboys, did his job once again. He pins him down in there. Tyrone Crawford, he gets the sack, and is really the reason that they're forced to punt here on 4th down. Should give the ball to the Cowboys with pretty good field position.
So Bradley Pinion will punt. He could play for the Warriors. 6'5", 229. It's a beauty. Whitehead is back. Dangerous catch. Good return. And the Dallas defense finally makes a stop on America's Game of the Week. Get the ball back for Prescott. As the 49ers lead by 14. Either unaware or unwilling to challenge Chip Kelly. Obviously, Marcus Cromartie has the hands on Lucky Whitehead. His knee is on the ground. If they wanted to challenge, they'd win it. It's 11 yards of field position, but no challenge. Down 14, starting at the 34. Prescott, time runs out. Flag flies at the end of the play.
Holding, offense number 68. 10-yard penalty, first down.
So right tackle Doug Free.
Take a look here at right tackle Doug Free, and they got him right there at the very end, just as Prescott started to scramble. It backs them up. Now with a 1st and 20 for an offense that's been struggling.
Zarek Armstead, 1st-round pick last year, been bothered by a bad shoulder. Held on the play by Free. Setting up a screen for Elliott, blocking in front of him. And Elliott gets the 10 yards back plus some. He says, keep feeding me. That was good for 19 as he walked the tightrope on the sideline 2nd and 1.
Yeah, it's nice with those screens. You're able to pick up those kinds of yards. This offensive line, certainly everyone around the league knows about them, how good they are in run blocking, but an athletic group for their size, and they led the way there for Ezekiel Elliott.
Elliott lunging for the first down. Saturday college football doesn't get any bigger than the Red River Showdown, a rivalry that spans generation. Baker Mayfield and the Sooners take on Dante Foreman and the 22nd ranked Longhorns. Coverage begins at 11 Eastern on FS1. It's all streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
Oklahoma was in a shootout yesterday. Good win over TCU.
Unbelievable start to the college football season. On first down, it's Elliott. You see what he's doing now. He's showing the power. He's a 6-footer, 225, and his yards per rush have gone up every week. 2.5 against the Giants, 3.9 against Washington, 4.6 last week. As the game starts to slow down, and as we said, so does he a bit to let things develop.
Yeah, he's a total package. He runs with power. He's got great speed. He's a home run threat. He can pass protect. He catches the ball very naturally.
Blitz. Prescott rolls out to the sideline, too high for Williams. And Terrence Williams was wide open.
Initially, a good job by Prescott when he comes out. They cover Jason Witten as he goes out to the flat. They cover him up. He's got the corner out there in front. He's not going to pick up the first, and then he tries to get it back into Terrence Williams. He goes through his progression and a ball that just gets away from him, because you're right, he had him along that sideline.
3rd and 6. Witten was calling for the ball. Prescott looked his way and now stays upright for just a moment. Down he goes and a flag flies. And we'll see if that's against the 49ers.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense number 29. The forward progress has been stopped. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
I mean, really? Jaquaski Tart, he didn't hardly do anything.
I don't get it.
Dak Prescott's up. He's not going down. He's a big-bodied guy. Tart doesn't hit him in the head. He just pushed him from behind in the back. I don't understand that call unless we see something different. That's a penalty.
They're probably, I didn't hear the whistle blow, but they're probably saying the whistle had blown, the play had been ruled dead, and he came in and hit him after the play, but I didn't see enough there to warrant a penalty.
Mark that. Automatic first down. Elliott. Nice little cut back. Let's take a listen to the sound, see where the whistle comes in. And with these big quarterbacks, I mean, they're hard to get down, and there was a whistle before. But Prescott was remaining upright. Pretty tight. And a big call against the second-year pro from Sanford.
Yeah, huge call.
2nd and 1. Just got it away. First down. Elliott's heating up to the 20.
Zach Martin and this big offensive line, these last 2 runs, they've just kind of imposed their will on him. As you see, Travis Frederick as well, and Zach Martin's on that other side. And they've created some nice running lanes right there in the middle of that defense.
Elliott's now averaging over 5 yards a carry. End zone. Coming back for it. Williams. Touchdown. Do you think the Cowboy fans travel well? An overwhelming amount of cheering on the touchdown to Terrence Williams.
Well, you're going to see Tremaine Brock is in a great position. He's over the top, and Prescott realized that he was not going to be able to get the ball to the back pylon. As you see what Prescott sees, and he has to try to drive the ball then, trying to get it to the back shoulder. But Williams comes back to the ball and is able to make the play.
They called a personal foul at the key stop of Dak Prescott by Jaquiski Tart that extended this drive. And the Cowboys take advantage of it as they turn it into 7. Dak Prescott got his first touchdown pass last week to Dez Bryant. Bryant's watching now. He gets his second to Terrence Williams. 7-point game. (14-7) game now as we are winding down this first half. Just under 3 to go. Good game. San Francisco at 1-2 against Dallas at 2-1. And Terrence Williams has got his first of the season. 20-yarder from Dak Prescott. The Cowboys took advantage of that personal foul call against Jaquiski Tart. And let's bring you into the booth to show the jacket, shirt, and tie combinations on this week 4 around the NFL. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. And Troy, I'm impressed. I've been impressed with the San Francisco start offensively. This is what they've been waiting for.
This is what they've been waiting for, and they've been able to convert on the third downs. They've been able to create some big plays, which is what you expect from Chip Kelly. I think Blaine Gabbert is really off to a nice game. And then for the Cowboys, who really came out struggling a little bit offensively, of course aided by the big penalty there, but they're able to finish off that drive, and we've got a heck of a ball game going on now.
Well, a big sack for Tyrone Crawford last time the 49ers had it. Led to the punt, which led to the points. And here's Gabbert. Handoff, tied. The ball almost came out. And Carlos Hyde is showing Ezekiel Elliott that both former Ohio State Buckeyes can run the ball.
Well, that's what I was going to say. We've talked a lot about Ezekiel Elliott. Carlos Hyde, he's really something. I've liked him ever since he's come into the league. He was backing up Frank Gore initially, but the leading rusher last year is tough. He's had some tough runs here in this first half.
He'll try it left side and take a seat. Boy, there are a ton of Cowboy fans here at Levi's Stadium today. 3rd and 3. Loss of 2 on that carry. Both teams with 3 timeouts. 2-minute warning, 4 seconds away. It's here. Consider yourselves warned. There are 2 minutes left in the first half. 49ers with the ball, leading by 7. Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. 49ers are 7 for 8 on 3rd down. Only failed attempt was a 3rd and 13. It's 3rd and 3. Gabbert sitting in the pocket, fires, pass broken up. Curley's looking for a flag and he doesn't get it. And it's Anthony Brown in the coverage.
It looked like it might be close. Let's see how Anthony Brown plays it. Look, he might have gone through his back. He grabbed the jersey there, and that's what Curley was expecting as he tries to work back to the football. And Anthony Brown, the young rookie, gets away with one.
On this windy day in Santa Clara, a punt coming from Pinion. First one was a 60-yarder with Whitehead waiting for it. Ooh, off the side of his foot. Was a total shame. See the wind blowing in the official's hair. Man, that was ugly. Kurt, what's coming up?
Coming up on the Visa Halftime, we'll check in on all the games in the National Football League and get coaching tips from Super Bowl 51 halftime performer Lady Gaga.
Well, Kurt, you know, In a traditional 3-4, the nose tackle plays a zero technique, but is responsible for covering both the A-gaps.
Is that a gap joke?
Yeah.
It's coming up on
It
Pizza
was.
Halftime.
It was a gap joke. Come on.
Lady Gaga, just talking ball. See her in Houston at halftime. Meanwhile, here's Dak Prescott with 1:50 left. 3 timeouts. See how the rookie goes about it. Down center. Over the middle, Witten's first catch. To midfield. Second down coming up, gain of 8.
Well, that was a heck of a catch by Jason Witten. That was a ball that was behind him, and it was challenged, and just really strong hands in order to make that play. There's still plenty of time, as you said, Joe. 3 timeouts.
There's Witten, 2 for 2 inside the 45. Clock continues to move, and Witten now is up to 1,036 career receptions as he continues to gain on #1 all-time tight end Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah, great player. My guess is future Hall of Famer, and the best thing you can say about him is he's there out there playing each and every week.
There he is again. First 3 times they've targeted Witten, and Prescott's 3 for 3 going to number 82. This one good for 7.
He gets out there in the flat. He's able to get the ball, get out of bounds, and such a dependable guy. And just wonder how long a guy like him is going to be able to continue to play. You don't see much let down, and certainly able to still create separation, and one of the most complete tight ends that we've seen in this league in a long time.
201st start as a Cowboy. 2 behind #1 franchise history. Ed Too Tall Jones. 2nd and 3. Prescott, sideline. Williams, first down. They haven't had to use a timeout yet. Dak Prescott likes the up-tempo. That's what he did at Mississippi State, so he is very comfortable getting right back up to the line. 48 seconds left in the half.
Where you got?
Quick throw, Witten again. 4th catch on the drive to the 25 timeout. That gives us a chance to look at some early game headliners. It's week 4 and earlier today. How about Julio Jones? A 300-yard day against the Carolina Panthers. The NFC champs are 1-3. The Ravens and Patriots no longer a part of the undefeated ranks. It belongs now to Minnesota and to the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are off. They'll be watching this game with interest. Russell Wilson's incredible. He's playing with a sprained ligament in his knee. He's got a sprained ankle, and he was terrific on the road in the win against the Jets today. 2nd and 6. Prescott. Pass too high for Butler.
He has a chance. That's that same throw that he had an opportunity earlier with Terrence Williams along the sideline. And Prescott, he's just been a little off today on some of his throws. We've seen some guys making some catches, but that should have been an easy completion. And he got Beasley, and after what he's been able to do, not just this year, but he's leading receiver coming in. And as I said, a really tough matchup. They're going to definitely be looking for him. But Prescott not as sharp here in this first half as we've seen of him the last 2 weeks.
49ers can afford to double Beasley because there's no Des Bryant. 3rd and 6, blitz. Prescott underneath. Williams will run for the first down, not go out of bounds, and they'll have to spend a timeout. Remember, it was Terrence Williams who didn't go out of bounds at the end of the game against the Giants week 1. Here he had a chance to go out of bounds, but he opts to stay in, causing the Cowboys to use their 2nd timeout.
Yeah, he could have gotten out. He'd gotten enough yardage for the first down. Not necessarily a bad thing, trying to get more yardage with the 2 timeouts at the time. It's been a bit of an up and down start to this season for Terrence Williams. He's talking about week 1, and then last week he has a nice day catching the ball and some big plays, but puts the ball on the ground. So he's battling through a few things and getting his confidence back, but they need him, like you said. Without Dez, he becomes more of a viable option.
Prescott 6 for 7 on this drive. Inside the red zone now for the first time today. Prescott too high for Witten. And again, Chaz Green is getting out of his stance awfully early. No flag thrown. 24 seconds left in the half.
There's been about 3 times here in this first half I've seen what looked to be some movement that came early, and the Cowboys have not yet been called.
Green, a 3rd-round pick from Florida a year ago. Chip Kelly trying to hang on to a first-half lead.
Here's Cole Beasley in the slot. Keep an eye on him.
Low snap. Pass is caught. Dunbar out of bounds. Short of a first down. 20 seconds left in the half as Will Hoyt shoved him out.
Well, Dunbar, who got hurt early last season and missed the rest of the year, when he's in the lineup, you can bet that there's going to be some things that are geared towards him. He's such a receiving threat. He lines up in the backfield here, but the last play, he got in the slot, he runs the option route. It's a nice game.
3rd down and 1. Handoff to Dunbar. He's got a first down and a timeout taken by Jason Garrett. And now you've got cracks at the end zone. It likely takes the ground game out of it, but we'll see what Jason Garrett wants to do. Coming up on the Visa halftime, Falcons offense. Is it the Falcons are that terrific, or the Carolina Panthers are that poor here in the early going? The Bills shut out the Patriots. The Seahawks took apart the Jets defense. Bad start for Todd Bowles.
Yeah, you wonder about Carolina, and you especially concern yourself then with Cam Newton. Derek Anderson finished that game. Cam Newton, it's my understanding, left with a concussion. But I think in week 4 you start to kind of find out who the teams are each and every year. You know, Atlanta disappointing last year. Now they've gotten off to a good start. Carolina struggling a little bit, but we're starting to see some of these teams and who are going to be the real contenders as we move through the year.
It's another 10-play drive for the Cowboys, leading the league with those coming in. 1st and goal. Out to his left. End zone. Touchdown, Butler. How about the kid, Dak Prescott?
I said moments ago that Prescott has not been as sharp as he's shown the last 2 weeks. This is a perfectly thrown ball, moving to his left, and he throws it right on the money. Defensive back looking for a possible PI. Didn't see that at the top of the route, but Bryce Butler, he's able to push inside, give him more room going back to the sidelines in the end zone, and Prescott puts it right on him.
Well, they've been waiting for somebody to step up. Butler with a couple of catches. Our line judge is down at the end of that play. You'll see him in the bottom right part of your screen right there, and it's Eric Reed who takes him out. Tom Steffen is his name, and down he went. 4th career touchdown for Bryce Butler, who is an upgrade that had Devin Street out there playing that role. They traded for him. Former Raider is Bryce Butler last year when Dez Bryant went down. But he's now more familiar with the offense. He's worked a lot with Prescott on the 2nd string unit. And Dak found him in the back of the end zone.
And as we said, as we look at the top, as to whether he got the hands extended, it didn't like he really pushed off too much against Tremaine Brock, but Brock certainly wanted the pass interference. You know, a lot of times it could have been called. You see the hands and arms extended like that. Sometimes you'll see a flag come out. But just a perfectly thrown ball by Dak Prescott. Guy who had to wait 3 weeks in order to get his first touchdown pass, and then here today he's got 2.
You didn't throw to anybody on the Cowboys who liked to extend his hands on the outside, did you?
Maybe one. He was good at it too.
Yeah, he's in Canton. Tie game. Dak Prescott has worked with Butler on the second unit during camp. Now they're starters. And on America's Game of the Week, a shake of the head from Chip. We're tied at 14.
For the upstart 49ers, they're 6 yards away from Pontiac. Montana looking, throwing in the end zone. Right far. It's a madhouse at Candlestick.
The great Vince Scully on the call. January 10th, 1982. Cowboys and the 49ers NFC Championship. And that was the last NFL game Scully called. There he is with John Madden back in 1981. Great article written by Richard Sandmere in the New York Times about how Scully was up for the position of being John Madden's partner along with Pat Summerall. There was some back and forth, changes in the main offices at CBS. The decision eventually obviously went to Pat Summerall. And now north of here, it's Vin Scully calling his final Major League Baseball game at the end of 67 years at the age of 88. And I know I'm biased because I'm in this business, but he is as important in the rich history of the Dodgers as anybody who put on a uniform, and inspiring to all of us who put on a headset weekend after weekend.
Yeah, I grew up, a part of my time as a child was in Southern California and listening to Vince Scully and his calls with the Dodgers games, and that decision that was made, I think, worked out well for all parties involved.
Squib kick by Bailey. 12 seconds left. This is Davis. And now 4 seconds left in the half. About 40 miles up the road today, they dedicated a plaque, and Willie Mays came up to the broadcast booth to see Vince Scully. There's our friend Larry Bear. And I'm assuming Vin talked to the crowd. Obviously that great rivalry. Vin was there when the Dodgers were in Brooklyn, and he's there now with the San Francisco Giants. I'll look at Steve Horn and see what the Giants are doing. They're leading 5-1 in the 8th, so it looks like the Giants in another even year going back to the playoffs, and they'll take on the Mets on Wednesday in what should be an unbelievable pitching matchup with Syndergaard taking on Bumgarner, and then the winner of that game will take on the Chicago Cubs. Vince Scully saying Willie Mays was his favorite, then said, I got the sense when these two met in the booth that you, Willie, could have played any position on the baseball diamond. And Willie said at one point, I even played a little shortstop. It's funny, my dad and Vin Scully had that in common. Their favorite player, Willie Mays. Dak Prescott, last 2 drives. 2 touchdowns, tie game. Guys in the studio, all yours. This excitement is brought to you by the new Nissan Titan. Today's excitement brought to you by the new Nissan Titan. Well, we talked about how the 49ers got on top 14-0. How would the rookie respond? You look at the stats after a half. You see the time of possession actually belongs to the Dallas Cowboys. Chip Kelly coach teams are used to that sort of a statistic, although it's not really that imbalanced. Meanwhile, Dak Prescott, Troy, on the last 2 drives went 10 for 13, 95 yards, 2 touchdowns. I'd say he responded well.
Yeah, and I thought that as that half rolled along, especially there that last possession, that he got, more and more into a rhythm throwing the football.
Drive will start at the 25 in this tie game. Aaron.
Yes, I'm right here, wind blowing in the air. Hey, I asked Jason Garrett about Dak Prescott and the fact he was able to lead this team back. Kind of tried to blow it off for a minute, and then as we were running to the locker room, he couldn't stop talking about his poise and the fact he was able to just bring this team back, going on and on about it. What he also stressed was his defense has to get to Blaine Gabbert. He said we didn't do that earlier, and that's why they were able to get the offense going. As for Chip Kelly, he said all the blame can't be placed once again on Blaine Gabbert. He felt there was some miscommunication on the offensive line later in that first half. They got to get it cleaned up. He also said we got to get to Dak here in a second.
I thought Gabbert played a good half. Here's Hyde. Good start. Carlos Hyde. Claiborne drags him down in Dallas territory. 32 yards to start the second half.
Well, you got Kilgore in the middle, and then Tiller, he gets up to the next level, and they see the hole that opens up one-on-one on the safety before anybody's even able to get a hand on him. Great play to start this half. Six.
Come on.
Hurry, go.
Gabbert. What a pass. Selleck. Unbelievable throw by Blaine Gabbert, and Selleck is down inside the 15.
Unbelievable. If you walked it down the field and handed it to him, you couldn't have placed it any better than this. That was great coverage by Sean Lee, and Gabbert just fits it about in the only spot he could have put it. It's just a great throw by Gabbert.
29-yarder to Selleck. Gabbert keeps. Flattens out. Lee forces him out. Let's go back to that catch.
Yeah, I'm with you, Joe. You talk about Chip Kelly saying, hey, it's not all Gabbert's fault. I don't think any of it's his fault. You see, Selleck doesn't even have to get his right arm up to try to make a play. He just basically one-hands it right in there. And that's a heck of a throw.
Second and 11.
51. Hurry, go.
Hyde. Well played. McClain was in there for Dallas, as was Crawford. Gain of 2.
Go back to the throw that Gabbert makes. You watch him in practice, and you commented on it as well. There's not many guys that I've seen when you just watch throw the ball at a Friday practice that you're more impressed with. I mean, he's certainly a heck of an athlete as we have seen, and we've seen of him, throughout his career, his ability to run. But he's got the ability to throw it anywhere he wants to. I think just settling in an offense that he
False
can.
start. Offense number 77. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
Get more and more comfortable with as there's a penalty there on the right tackle, Trent Brown.
I mean, you can speak to it. It's got to be overwhelming to have 6 different offensive coordinators, different systems, trying to get the language right, trying to call plays in the huddle.
You think Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, those guys played the same offense their entire career.
3rd and 14. That's skipped in the direction of Burbridge. 4th down. The field goal unit will come on with Phil Dawson about to try one for the lead.
Yeah, that was probably Gabbert's worst throw of the day. He had a chance. Whether or not it would have been enough for a first down, but he had a clean lane and just didn't make a good throw.
36-yard try for Dawson. Been at it for a long time. 41 years old. He's still good. 49ers back on top. Good start to the second half for Gabbert and the home team.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. By Ford F-Series, the official truck of the NFL. And by Miller Lite, the original light beer.
Offensive leaders for the Dallas Cowboys. A day for Prescott. 2 touchdown throws. Terrence Williams has one of those catches for a touchdown, and Elliott He's been effective when he's gotten it, averaging over 5 yards a carry. 49ers lead by 3. Lucky Whitehead waiting for the kick. And out to the 25 it will come. Saturday college football doesn't get any bigger. The Red River Showdown, a rivalry that spans generations. Baker Mayfield and the Sooners take on Dante Foreman and the 22nd ranked Longhorns. Coverage begins at 11 a.m. Eastern on FS1. It's all streaming live on Fox Sports Go. It's talking about the undefeated teams left in the NFL. I left out the Denver Broncos. I want my wife to talk to me, so I want to go back and clean that up. Trevor Siemian, what a start. They're playing down in Tampa here in week 4. And movement by Swain, the tight end.
False start. Offense number 87. 5-yard penalty. First down.
But I bring that up about Denver as you look at the false start. Prescott, Carson Wentz, Trevor Siemian, all young quarterbacks. Simeon's not a rookie. The other two are all coached by ex-NFL quarterbacks. Doug Peterson, Jason Garrett, and Gary Kubiak. First and 15. Hand off to Ezekiel Elliott.
We talked about Dak and Jason Garrett talking about the poise that he has. I think the greatest compliment that a quarterback can get is when he hears his offensive linemen say that they enjoy playing for him. And that's what you hear from this offensive line. They like the way he has taken command. They don't care that he's a young player. They don't care that he's inexperienced, but he's taken control of this offense in the huddle and what he's doing at the line of scrimmage. And these guys, all 5 of them across the board, just love what he has done for this offense.
49ers come with a blitz. Cowboys pick it up momentarily. Pass caught Beasley. And Cole Beasley is going to be down a yard shy of a first down. Good block by Elliott. That's all a part of it for a rookie running back. Elliott picking up a blitzer. And it brings up 3rd down and 1. We'll get into it, but if this continues for Dak Prescott, interesting to see, let's say this, just how patient the Cowboys are with the healing back of Tony Romo.
Yeah, I was going to say, Joe just said it. I wouldn't be so surprised they don't take a shot right here with Terrence Williams, but now that he's moving inside, that won't happen.
They play it straight. It's Elliott for the first down, showing what he can do. Gain of 7.
Once again, just some good tough running, and 3rd and short. You know, you can't be dancing around too much. You got to put your foot in the ground and get going north and south, and Ezekiel Elliott able to do that. You talk about his blocking on the previous play. That's usually what kind of makes these young rookie running backs stumble, but he's exceptional.
Busted play. Prescott gets back to the line of scrimmage, maybe got half a yard. DeForest Buckner. Buckner on the stop, a gain of 1.
I think that was on Prescott going the wrong way. It looked like they had something. Had Prescott have come out and handed him the ball, the way it was designed, a cutback is where Ezekiel was going to go. He was like he might have been able to pick up some yards.
2nd and 9. Prescott gets rid of it, incomplete. Witten was close enough to it. With Buckner wrapped around Dak Prescott, he's able to avoid the sack.
Well, DeForest Buckner, he's a guy they're expecting a lot of big things from right here in the middle. And he's just able to fight through it. He's a big guy there at 6'7", over 300 pounds. He powers his way in there to get to Prescott, force him to get rid of the ball.
Third down. Pass is caught by Witten somehow, but short of a first down as Antoine Bethea and Michael Wilhoit combine on the stop, and the strong tackle is going to force a punt.
I think 49ers might have gotten away with one there. It looked from here that Witten, got hit before the ball even got to him. He was able to make the catch. It looked like he was getting hit from behind just before the ball arrived.
It's a good pickup by you, but no flag. The catch made. A good tackle by Bethea. 4th and 1. Jones to punt. Curley lets it go into the end zone. Out to the 20, it will come. Jason Witten frustrated after that on the sideline. 49ers celebrate a defensive stop up 3. America's Game of the Week continues. Witten was frustrated with no flag on that hit by Bethea. Punt now starting at the 20. Handoff to Hyde, a gain of 1. Anthony Hitchens in to make the stop. During the break, I think your former backup, Jason Garrett, saw the same thing you saw, that hit came before the ball got to Jason Witten. 2nd and 9. Here's Hyde. Well played by Dallas, and the Cowboy fans in the crowd react. A gain of 2, 3rd and long coming up.
Well, Cedric Thornton, he got there in a hurry and made a good play. They're on 2nd down. A guy they picked up here in the offseason, expected him to be the starter, but because of the way Terrell McClain has played, he's been a backup player, still gets plenty of snaps during the course of a ball game, but good play there on 2nd down.
49ers 0 for 3 in their last 3 third down tries, and this won't get it done either. Carlos Hyde with the catch, and the play made by Sean Lee. So a throw completed short of the sticks. It's 4th down.
Yeah, Gabbard, he just didn't have much of a chance anywhere else. You look around the board, and there was pretty good coverage everywhere else, and he wanted to try to get the ball down the field for the 1st down. Instead, he comes underneath with a safe throw, but forces another punt.
Pinion hits a good one this time.
Watch yourself, watch!
Whitehead from about the 10. Able to cross the 20. Dak Prescott and the Cowboys get it right back as they trail by 3.
Game is sponsored by Verizon. Welcome to Verizon LTE Advanced, the next gen network.
Well, they're the quarterbacks going to work on their Surface tablets, brought to you by Microsoft. And those are there to absorb the shock of frustration on the sidelines as well. Whether you name it. Cowboys have the ball down by 3, and Elliott, good tackle made by Jaquaski Tart. Armstead as well. Day for Dak Prescott, and completions by yardage. He's 1 for 1, the only time he's really aired it out downfield. It's been the start of the season for Prescott, and it's worked. Pass is caught. That's Butler, who's got a touchdown in this game, and he's got a 1st down out across the 30.
We come into this game for Dallas, and like you said, without Des Bryant, it affords a defense the ability to do a few different things, and they're going to load up against the run. They know what they're dealing with Ezekiel Elliott, and as a result of that, the Cowboys have relied heavily on the passing game, and Bryce Butler able to make a good play there on the ball for a 1st down.
Alvaro Bowman is down. Bowman, the 3-time Pro Bowl linebacker, number 53, non-contact, and his leg just gave out.
Alvaro Bowman, of course, we remember the championship game when he injured that knee and missed a full season, and what a great player he is, but that's a real concern.
Take a break and come back as they look at Bowman. Navarro Bowman, who has 8 tackles and a sack, went down, a non-contact injury. Walked off very gingerly now on the sideline getting looked at. Meanwhile, it's first down as Nick Bellore is taken over. Witten left too soon.
False start, offense number 82. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Troy, when the 49ers were winning with Jim Harbaugh, 2011 to 2013, 36-11-1. To 3 straight NFC championship games. They had the big offensive line. They had a good ground game. Kaepernick was at the controls, and they had Vic Fangio coordinating the defense, and that linebacker group was so good. Very different looking linebacker group now. Here's Elliott breaking loose into 49er territory. 23-yard carry by Ezekiel Elliott.
Well, Zach Martin, the right guard, you see the block that he's able to make, and Ezekiel Elliott, excellent work of setting up the block as he starts to stretch it, and then it's a one-cut, take it, and get going north and south, and then he's one-on-one on Bethea, the safety, and it's an excellent job up front by this offensive line, the right guard, Zach Martin in particular, but that's some of the patience that we've begun to see from Ezekiel Elliott. He sets it up beautifully.
Rashard Robinson is down, the rookie, 4th-round pick from LSU. He's played well in this game. And he got caught up as he gets shoved from Terrence Williams. And he ended up banging legs with Antoine Bethea. A carry by Elliott, 23 yards, the Cowboys' longest of the day. And for the Cowboys, a season long on the ground. Elliott again. Ezekiel Elliott came into this game leading the NFL, not just rookies, in yards after contact. And he gets hit there early and falls forward for a 1-yard gain.
Well, we saw earlier him signaling to Scott Linehan, the offensive coordinator, hey, give me the ball, feed me. And, he's gotten his workload through the first 3 games, and he is again here this afternoon. Last week against the Bears, 30 carries. He's had some tough runs. It's been a physical game. We saw that long run. He's had some tough runs in the middle with a lot of punishing blows.
2nd and 9, blitz. Elliott left side, a juggle, stays upright and turns that into a nice gain on 2nd down of 4. Elliott almost lost the ball. He's averaging just under 6 yards a carry. There's Jim O'Neill, the defensive coordinator for San Francisco.
Well, even that ball, they're lucky to get the ball. It's bobbled the handoff. I think Ezekiel Elliott started the wrong way on that last play, and they were fortunate that they didn't have something catastrophic happen.
3rd and 5. Just 3 men on the rush. Prescott has got Butler with a catch for a first down.
Excellent release off the ball. It's zone coverage, but he's able to get off the line of scrimmage without the jam. Reeser is the corner, but he finds that soft spot within the zone, and a first down Dallas Cowboys.
And a good catch at the end of it. There's Elliott, cutback. Ends up with a 4-yard pickup, and Navarro Bowman is going to be carted off.
Talk about those great championship games and them going to the Super Bowl. There's not many guys left on this roster from those years. Navarro Bowman, one of those guys, and it didn't look real good seeing him go to the ground and whatever ultimately comes of it.
2nd and 6. Prescott over the middle. He's got Witten for a first down. Jason Witten presents a target for a quarterback with his hands out, waiting for the pass. This one good for 8.
Well, he's a guy that a quarterback likes. I mean, he can create separation, but he's a big body, so even when he's got contact, he can body a guy up in the middle and stick it on. He's got 6 catches here today.
Hey, center it! Center it! Center it!
Elliott right side, hits the hole hard. Ezekiel down to the 1.
Run a move here, and it opens up this lane right through the middle for the Cowboys. As you see, just nobody there in the hole. Looked like Eric Armstead, whether he was doing something he shouldn't have been doing, but nobody in that gap. The Cowboys exploit it.
Extra offensive lineman in there. Elliott at tailback. Ezekiel for the touchdown.
Well, that was pretty much Ezekiel Elliott's drive right there. He gets the big 23-yard gain. Typically, big plays like that lead to points, and they continue to feed him, and he finishes that drive off with a touchdown.
Back-to-back 100-yard days for the rookie. The Cowboys, who trailed 14-0. Have their first lead of the day, and it's 4. On the 49ers, on the road. And the rookies have led them. Elliott takes it in. Prescott at quarterback. Romo on the bench, smiling, up 4. The guy on the right just took it in, Ezekiel Elliott. Jake Glazer joins us with the inside scoop from the studio. Give us more on the first-round pick, Ezekiel.
You know, everybody thinks that Ezekiel Elliott was a slam dunk all the way through the draft process. Actually, that was not the case at all. There was a, let's call it a healthy discussion leading up to the draft. The day before the draft was between him and 2 other defensive players. One of those guys was Joey Bosa. He was eliminated then the day of the draft. Then it went down to him and Ramsey, the cornerback, and they really didn't make the final decision until just a couple of hours before the draft. They said, we want a guy like Ezekiel Elliott because we think that he can affect the game on most of the offensive plays because of his blocking, his receiving, and his running.
Definitely a 3-down back, and his yards per carry average has gone up every week as he has settled in. And his touchdown just gave the Cowboys their first lead of the day. On the return, big hit on Chris Davis as he gets to the 22. And give us more on Dez Bryant of the Dallas Cowboys and what his situation is.
Well, guys, even though he's not playing today, they did dodge a bullet here with Dez Bryant. When it initially happened, they immediately thought the worst. They said, oh no, torn ligament. Obviously, that's not the case. There's an injury to the bone. And he actually bounced back enough where yesterday at the walkthrough, he was jumping up and down, trying to convince the coaches that he's good to go. Obviously, that wasn't the case. He hadn't practiced, but he's going to be back sooner than they originally thought.
Cowboys are home next against Cincinnati. Jay, thanks. From 22. With 1:02 left in the third. Here's Gabbert down 4. Blitz. Lee was coming. Curley on the catch.
Yeah, you just think about Dez as we heard Jay talk about him and his status going forward. You just wonder, he's just a guy, he's so physical as a receiver. It just seems like injuries, and it certainly has been here the last couple of years. It's going to be a part of his career, just his style of play. He takes a lot of punishment. He's out there on the field.
2nd and 4, Gabbert steps through it. Hitchens drags him down. And a gain of 1. Good play by Anthony Hitchens.
It looked like initially that Gabbert might have been trying to work that inside, but Garrett Selleck, he falls down, so he covers up. Receiver coming in behind him. but a really good play by Hitchens in the open field to bring down the athletic Gabbert.
Saw Torrey Smith. He doesn't have a catch today.
They've got a shot down the field if they want to take something deep.
Gabbert keeps. First down. And that's the end of the third quarter. Another third down conversion by the 49ers. 21-17 game back after this from your local Fox station. Comparison of the two quarterbacks, Prescott and Gabbert. Gabbert just kept the ball on that option play, and well for Blaine, he carried it for a first down. We'll see what's happened. The 49ers started on third down 7 for 7 converting. They had been 0 for their last 4 before that 3rd and 3. Gabbert got a fresh set. Handoff is to Hyde. What an effort. There was nothing there, and Carlos Hyde ends up with a 4-yard carry.
He got all he could out of that one there. You're right. He got bottled up. There was nothing there. He finishes this thing off with a big head slap. But as we talked about with Gabbert and what this offense has done, they've gotten 3 pass plays of over 20 yards in this game. All 3 of those led to points. Now they got the first down on this drive, but at the end of the third quarter gave Dallas a chance to rest. We'll see if they're able to pick up a first down and come up with a big play, much like Dallas did with the run by Elliott that leads to points.
Hand off to Hyde. He spins, doing all he can. Gain of 3, 3rd and short coming up. Chip Kelly inheriting Carlos Hyde, and he really likes him. Former 2nd-round pick out of Ohio State 2 years ago. That was in the Harbaugh regime, then Jim Tomsula for a year. Now Chip Kelly, 3rd and 3.
We can see all 11 guys looking over at Chip Kelly to see what the signals are on the sidelines and what play is going to be run.
Gabbert, Curley, broken up. Well played by Wilcox. He was there stride for stride with 17.
Perfect coverage by J.J. Wilcox. He gets hands on Curley, but he turns and he's there in position to make a play. The 49ers brought edge pressure off the slot. That's why Wilcox then is one-on-one on Curley, but just nowhere to put the football. You know, once again, just not enough separation, no separation on that play.
Fair catch for Beasley at the 10. 13:29 left. Dallas Cowboys with the football leading by 4.
This game is sponsored by Chevrolet. More 2016 J.D. Power Dependability Awards than any other brand. And by KFC. Go Buckets. It's finger-licking good.
Cowboys have the football on America's Game of the Week, leading by 4. They've scored 3 touchdowns on their last 4 drives. They trailed 14-0. Now start this drive at their 10. This is Morris. And Alfred Morris says, "Don't forget about me." Let's go to Los Angeles for Vin Scully's final call.
And the 2-2 pitch on the way. Sergio Deal slider hit in the air to left center. Coming over is Pagan. He puts it away. And the Giants are the wild card team. The city.
So we send it to LA. That call coming from San Francisco as the Dodgers and Giants end the regular season. Congratulations to the Giants. They have a date with the New York Mets in that wild card game for a chance to play the Cubs as Morris carries for a first down, brought down by Will Hoyt.
A good run in there by Alfred Morris as the 49ers, they've been loading the box. You know, trying to shut down this running game. We saw Ezekiel Elliott get going on that last possession. Some really tough runs and big runs, and now we are seeing pretty much the same thing from Alfred Morris.
Prescott keeps. Butler up to get it. Pass is caught. What a catch by Bryce Butler, who's showing something today.
Just got
the flag at the end of it.
Yeah, I was wondering if the flag was going to come out after. He makes a heck of a play on this ball. This is not an easy catch. He hauls it in. Good coverage. It's contested. And then at the end of this play, he gets up, and this is what he gets called for taunting.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, taunting, offense number 49. The end of the play was short of the line of game. The down counts. It'll be second down after a 15-yard penalty. That is number 49's first unsportsmanlike conduct that counts toward disqualification.
It's obviously on 19, not 49, as he spun the ball. Considered taunting by Bryce Butler.
That's what they get him on is the spinning of the ball, at the opponent. If he doesn't do that, the flag doesn't come out. But it's those kinds of things that they're trying to eliminate from the game.
Cowboys came in tied for third fewest penalties in the league. It had only one drop, 4 sacks, tied for the fourth fewest, 2 giveaways. They've been pretty tight in a good sense offensively. 2nd and 16. Morris gets it. And a good carry by Morris up shy of the 25 to bring up third down after a gain of 8, but that carry makes it more manageable.
I think Scott Linehan's done a good job in this game as they come out. They threw the ball really a little bit more. Heavy pass early, and as you would expect, it's starting to balance out now with some of the things they've been able to do in the running game in the second half.
He's taking some hits, 9 of them. 3rd and 8. Prescott, pass is incomplete. Butler the target. And a nice job defensively by San Francisco and Rashard Robinson.
Rashard Robinson, he's pretty much just sitting on Bryce Butler. Butler's one of these guys that can run. I mean, that's one of his strengths. He's a big guy. He can get down the field, but they just haven't done that with him. And so Rashard Robinson, not anticipating anything deep. They're going to try to pick up the first down. He's sitting on it. It's a good job by him forcing the punt.
The taunting penalty on Butler was huge. Instead of a 2nd and 1, it made it 2nd and 16. And the Cowboys couldn't recover. Curley from the 20. With blocking. Forced out by the punter, Chris Jones, but a good return of 24 yards. A season long for Curley. There's the taunting call against Butler. Big penalty in a 4-point game. 49ers have the football. Let's compare the Buckeyes. Ezekiel Elliott, the rookie. Carlos Hyde, who is in year number 3. Both had over 3,000 yards at Ohio State. Both have been impressive here today. 4-point game. 49ers have it trailing, starting at their 45. Gabbard protected, airs it out. Torrey Smith, he's picked off. Claiborne back the other way, and a takeaway for this Dallas defense.
It was the right idea. They had one-on-one, and you just wonder how long it's going to be before Chip Kelly takes a shot down the field. Torrey Smith, a legitimate deep threat. He can flat out get it, and he's passed Morris Claiborne. It's just a poorly thrown ball. Instead of leading him to the middle of the field where he can go run down the ball, it's behind him. Claiborne makes a heck of a play, though. Having said that, he's beat, but he is able to adjust and make the interception. But that was a golden opportunity for Blaine Gabbert and Torrey Smith, but instead a complete shift in field position. The Cowboys now starting out almost on the 35-yard line.
First turnover of the game. The return was 27 yards. It had been a while for Morris Claiborne as he gets his first pick. Elliott back in the game. Here's Beasley as they swing it out to him. Buffet on the force out. Here's a look at the interception.
Yeah, here's a look at where the ball should have been and where it went. It went to the outside, and as a quarterback, there is a corner falling back into that play. As you see Byron Jones, the safety, and sometimes that color kind of scares you as a quarterback, and you don't want to lead the guy too much to the middle thinking he can make a play, but he can't. You got to make him go get it. Might be a little wind as well into the face on that throw, but just not a well-positioned ball, and it results in an interception.
The first in over 2 years for Morris Claiborne.
Well, it had been a while.
Charge timeout, Dallas. 30-second timeout.
It had been a while for Brandon Carr also until week 1. It had been a couple years, so both of these guys now able in the early going of this season, able to get interceptions that have eluded them in previous years.
Claiborne got one in September of 2014, and he gets one in October 2016. Get ready for MLB postseason, where all that matters is October. The NLDS starts Friday on FS1. Going to be a fun postseason. It just has that feeling. The Cubs with the best record in the game in 2016. And a favorite going in. 2nd and 3. Elliott left side. Leary with a block. Elliott springs loose inside the 35.
Well, you called it, Joe. Ron Leary, the left guard, and then you got Travis Frederick, who is able to work up to the linebacker, and that's how you draw it up on the chalkboard during the week for offensive line coaches, and it seems to never quite play out quite like that on game day, but just textbook execution and a big game.
No Navarro Bowman in there for the 49ers.
Everybody, winner!
Elliott's over 7 yards a carry in this game. Trying to add to it behind that big group up front. And again, no Tyron Smith, no Lyle Collins. No problem for the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, like I said, I mean, the Cowboys came out, 49ers loading the box. They threw the ball, and they were, imbalanced in the way that they were throwing it, but that's kind of typical in the way a lot of games go. And I can tell you firsthand how many times Emmitt Smith got a good number of his carries and yards late in the second half, and that's what we're witnessing with Ezekiel Elliott and this big, powerful offensive line.
Here's Morris cutting back, breaking a tackle and a spin for a first down. Went around Ahmad Brooks and got 7. Well, he can still do it. He's only 27, and a guy who had over 1,600 rushing yards his rookie year with the Redskins.
Well, watch Travis Frederick. I mean, he knocks his guy clean off the picture, and they're just moving people. The 49ers have got everybody they can in the box trying to shut down this running game, and this offensive line is just having their way right now.
Morris right side cuts back. The nose tackle Mike Purcell, the first to hit him. Game 3. Small screen, stadium-sized content. Watch live local Sunday games on your smartphone with NFL Mobile. The teams that can run it effectively, Troy, when the other side knows that's what they're going to do, those are the ones that usually end up playing late into the year.
Hey, 49er fans right now are saying, hey, this is the way we used to do it. We had 3 first-round picks. We pounded people with Frank Gore. And we went to championship games. And right now, that's the Dallas Cowboys.
Play action. Pass to Witten. Stays upright. Got away from Buffet down inside the 15. The 34-year-old still chopping his feet, a gain of 5.
Good idea, though, by offensive coordinator Scott Linehan. You've been pounding Ezekiel Elliott. Come off of that with a little boot, get him on the edge, and kind of soften him up a little bit if you can.
3rd and 2. 3 tight ends in the lineup for Dallas. Flag. And they may have finally gotten Chaz Green starting early. We'll see. But the early indication, the headlinesman pointing to the 49ers.
Offside, defense number 55, lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, first down.
And that gives a first down to Dallas as Ahmad Brooks was lined up in the neutral zone.
I'm with you. I thought it would have been on Chaz Green over here. He moved, and Ahmad Brooks is who they get in the neutral zone, but Chaz Green, he's been moving like that all game. I was going to say, Joe, if they called it on Green, he's going to be saying, what did I do wrong? I mean, here he is right there. He's been doing this a number of times in the game, leaving early, but Ahmad Brooks instead they get for lining up in the neutral zone.
Down at the bottom of the defensive formation, 1st and goal. Here's Elliott, down to the 4. Again, Ezekiel Elliott, 7 carries in the preseason. And he's gone for 51, 83, 140. Now they just called a hold against Ahmad Brooks. And an automatic first down that came in at the end of the play. And Elliott says to Linehan, keep feeding me, Scott.
I don't think he has to worry about that. I think Scott Linehan knows exactly what he's got. There's 55 of
Number 73 is an eligible receiver.
So the automatic first down, the ball at the 2.
I think right here's a good time for play action, but the way Ezekiel Elliott is running the ball, they'll probably hand it to him.
Call was a legal use of hands. Elliott slams it up in there. Well played by San Francisco. Let's go back to that call against Ahmad Brooks. We talked about Chaz Green. There's Brooks. And he is up in the neutral zone, and that's what drew the flag.
I still think the play of the game was the penalty on Jaquiski Tartt in that first half, which kept the drive alive. And there's been some costly penalties for the 49ers.
That led to the Cowboys' first touchdown. 2nd and goal. Here's Elliott. Brought down in the backfield, Purcell and Armstead. The 49ers are selling out for the run. And the last 2 plays, they've made the plays. This is after the interception by Gabbard. 3rd goal.
Yeah, this is a huge play in this game. Able to make a stop here and keep it a 1-possession game, assuming the Cowboys then go with the field goal.
Looks like a timeout is coming. So Prescott over to the sideline, and he'll talk it over with Jason Garrett. And we welcome you inside a broadcast booth. I'm Joe Buck. That's Troy Aikman. And again, this was a Dallas team, a young Dallas team without a lot of key parts. Down 14-0 on the road, and they're in a position here to make it a 2-score game.
Yeah, I mean, they've shown a lot of poise, and we were wondering how Dak Prescott would handle it getting down like that early in a game. He's maintained his composure, and he's played very, very well. I'm really interested in what Scott Linehan decides to do here. And, you know, with 3rd and goal at a real critical juncture in the game, is he going to turn his signal caller loose? You know, and I think they could have gone maybe with some play action early, but they go with the hot hand Elliott, and the 49ers defensively rise to the occasion on the last 2 plays.
Quick throw. Butler, incomplete. Well covered by the rookie Robinson. He's had a heck of a game.
I couldn't tell, Joe. It looked like Butler, has the ball initially. It's a really well thrown ball. Robinson never gets his head turned around. Sure enough, that ball couldn't have been thrown any better. Robinson was unable to get his head turned around, and Prescott puts it about in the only place he could, and Butler just unable to make that play.
Tell you what, though, Rashard Robinson, the rookie from LSU, has been tested.
Yes, he has.
I think he's really played well.
Yeah, they like him a lot, and they found him something in that 4th round this year.
22-yard try to make it a 7-point game. It goes down as points off the turnover. Claiborne with the pick. Cowboys turn it into 3. Now Gabbert trails by 7.
Today's game is sponsored by Nationwide. Nationwide is on your side.
Well, Rashard Robinson getting congratulations on the sideline, and he should. They've gone after him quite a bit today, and he has stood tall. Broke up that touchdown as Butler got his hands on it, couldn't haul it in. But a field goal to make it a 7-point game. Little pop-up kickoff. The drive will start at the 25. Well, the vet is telling the young guy how to do it. Catch it, just pull it in. That's what I do, says Des Bryant. And it continues.
Take a look at passing by distance, and the one that stands out to me is here 2 of 4. Of course, the one interception that led to the field goal on that last possession for the Cowboys, but a much different looking offense than the one we saw Chip Kelly run in Philadelphia. Different personnel. Deshaun Jackson there in Philadelphia, and Macklin, those guys being able to get down the field and stretch defenses. Torrey Smith really the only guy they have here, and it's been more of a challenge.
Here's Selleck underneath the tight end. He is inches short of a first down.
This 49ers offense came out, they were rolling, they were picking up first downs, and about the last 6 possessions they've struggled to really sustain drives and pick up first downs, and so they're forced to now if they're going to be able to get down the field and tie this game up.
On second down, pass is caught for the first down by Curley. He's got a touchdown in this game, gain of 7.
A nice catch there by Jeremy Curley to the outside. Gabbert put it out there where he had to. You can't throw that ball behind with an outside breaking route. Curley able to make the play.
This organization has missed on drafting some wide receivers. They added Curley at the very end of August, and he came in leading them in receiving yards. There he is again. Tapped down inside the 40.
I was wondering if Gabbert was going to spot him. Curley, he runs a good route and is able to create some separation as he goes across the field. And then Gabbert, if he's able to catch that on the move and not have to go to the ground, he's got a chance maybe to take that all the way to the house. I mean, he would just then be one-on-one on the safety. He's the one guy who can create some separation consistently for Gabbert, and now he's coming up injured, going off the field.
Curley made the catch, went to the ground, and that play was still live. And when he got hit by Barry Church, he was in an awkward position. That one good for 20 yards. Gabbert keeps. Good tackle. Claiborne, who had the earlier pick. Loss of 1.
Well, you watch Morris Claiborne really this year, and you see his confidence continue to grow. They said he had a great camp. He's had a nice game here, the interception, one-on-one, and he's able to make a tackle. The big thing for him is just being able to remain on the field. He's not made it through a 16-game season yet, but a nice play in the open field.
Curley back out there. 2nd and 11. Pass caught by Curley. 3rd down coming up. Obviously 2 downs to get the remaining yardage after that completion of 5. It'll be 3rd and 6.
Yeah, I think Chip would like to get this play run. He's got the defense, but they're not going to get it off before the 2-minute warning.
The 49ers are 1 for their last 6 on third down. 3rd and 6. We come back.
Today's game is sponsored by Domino's. Order online and track your order.
During the break, at the 2-minute warning, Ezekiel Elliott got up and ran out onto the field to pump up the defense. Got right in there in the huddle. Said, let's go. 3rd and 6. Gabbert over the middle. Pass broken up. No flags as Curley ends up on the ground. It's 4th down.
There's definitely some hand checking going on there by Byron Jones on Ezekiel, but not enough to warrant a flag, or excuse me, on Curley, but not enough to warrant a flag. That's one of the things that Byron Jones is able to give you as a safety, the ability to also come up and cover the way he did on that play.
Any hope for the 49ers rests now on a 4th and 6. And they can't get lined up at the top and have to call a timeout. They had Patton up there, Burbridge, and Torrey Smith. And there was total confusion at the top of the formation.
Well, there definitely was confusion on getting lined up, and Gabbert does the right thing in using the timeout. This is the play of the game for them right now on 4th down, and they've got to make sure everybody's on the same page and they execute.
Well, what kind of a day is it going to be here in the Bay Area? The San Francisco Giants have stamped their ticket into the baseball postseason with a sweep and a win today over the rival Los Angeles Dodgers. Sports fans happy that the U.S. won the Ryder Cup, first time since '08. What a Ryder Cup for Patrick Reed, and now those in the stadium and those watching on TVs hoping Chip Kelly's team can mount a comeback.
Well, who's going to make a play? I said Jeremy Curley. He's the guy who can create separation consistently. They've been trying to get him the ball. We'll see here. One-on-one at the bottom.
That's Selleck down there. 4th and 6. Gabbert to his right. Pass caught but short. Cowboys take over. Claiborne made the play on Torrey Smith. What a quarter for Morris Claiborne.
Well, it's the pressure here that gets Gabbert out of the pocket. Joe Staley able to neutralize him a little bit, Jack Crawford, but he's the one who forces Gabbert to then only be able to work half the field. And Torrey Smith short of the 1st down and an excellent stop on 4th down defensively to make a play before he gets to the chains.
7th tackle for Claiborne to go with the interception in Jerry Jones. They leave the West Coast 3-1 with a home game against Cincinnati coming up. Swaim again.
False start. Offense number 87. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
NFL Play 60, the NFL's movement for a more active generation, encourages fans to get moving and play for 60 minutes every day. Learn how you can join the NFL Play 60 movement at NFL.com/Play60. 1:49 left, 2 timeouts for the 49ers, who trail by 7. Elliott in the backfield. Lowers his shoulder and picks up 2.5. Timeout taken, 49ers. They have 1 left.
Well, the Cowboys, they spread them out. There's no secret what the Cowboys are going to do, and that's run the ball. But they go with a spread set and put Dak Prescott in shotgun and then say, okay, well, we're not maybe just going to hand the ball to Elliott. Maybe Prescott will keep it. So they're forcing the 49ers to play it all.
Player is down. That's Buckner, the 1st-round pick. 2nd down and 12 as they check on him. Only 1 timeout remaining for the 49ers. Back after this. this offensive line without Tyron Smith, without Lyle Collins. But they do have Leary, they do have Frederick, they do have Zach Martin, Doug Free, and now Chaz Green. And the Cowboys over 200 rush yards at over 5.5 yards a carry. 12 rushing first downs. They lead the league in that category. 49ers will get the ball back with a stop. They have one timeout remaining, 2nd and 12. Blitz, throw to Beasley, safe throw, first down. They will not get the ball back, although a flag is down. It came in late. Will Hoyt chases down Beasley. If this is against the 49ers, this game will come to an end. If it's against the Cowboys, it will add intrigue. And we'll get the call from Terry McAulay. The flag was well after the catch. It's inside the San Francisco 45. It's a 47-yard catch and run, and a good call by Scott Lennon. How about that call? So they pick it up, and that's going to do it.
I mean, it's a safe throw, but if that ball for any reason's incomplete, a lot of people be scratching their heads. But second down, everybody in the stadium and watching this game is expecting the ball to be handed off and on the ground, and a short completion to Beasley, and this game's on ice.
47 yards as Beasley, who came in the top receiver for the Dallas Cowboys, number 2 in the NFC. And now the 49ers call their final timeout. But with a fresh set of downs, the Cowboys can run it down.
That's a heck of a game by this young football team and the Dallas Cowboys to get behind the way they did and to maintain their composure. And Dak Prescott, awfully impressive.
The 49ers, despite what it says in the Fox box, are out of timeouts. There it is. Away it goes. We'll give you a game break in just a second after this first play. As Tony Romo's understudy, the rookie Dak Prescott, is about to go to 3-1.
Dak Prescott throwing a little more fuel on the fire, and whether or not he's going to lose his job when Romo comes back healthy.
Let's go to Carissa for a game break.
Thanks, Joe. LA at Arizona. Brian Quick, a 4-yard touchdown catch from Case Keenum puts the Rams up 17-13 at the 2-minute warning. Now the Cardinals take possession, but Carson Palmer is back in the locker room in concussion protocol, so Drew Stanton takes over, time permitting. We will get you out to Arizona. Joe?
Well, that would be an unbelievable start for the LA Rams. A win there, they go to 3-1. They would have 2 wins in the division, and anybody who saw that opening Monday night game, the late one here in San Francisco, would have thought that was impossible. 28-0 49er win. But the Rams are in position to go to 3-1. Meanwhile, Dak Prescott, no interceptions. It's a rookie record. There's one alive for Carson Wentz as well. The Eagles are off. But 131 career attempts as a rookie to start without an interception. We'll have bonus coverage coming up, the Rams and the Cardinals. That's it. The Dallas Cowboys are 3-1. The 49ers 1-3, and Jason Garrett. And the Cowboys have their first winning streak of 3 games since their 12-4 year in 2014. And they're doing it with a rookie quarterback, a rookie running back, and that terrific offensive line. Morris Claiborne, a couple of big plays defensively. It's LA and Arizona coming up. Tom, Charles, Peter Schrager coming your way. Cowboys 3-1. So long.